The Great Resignation. Is it just a blip in the labor market, or is it a more permanent feature going forward? Either way, the COVID-19 pandemic has turned the world of work upside down, changing things in ways we really couldn't have foreseen before. Many of these changes are permanent. Others, I argue, it's not so clear yet. Many people, after nearly 2 years of crisis and uncertainty, have stepped back, looked at their lives, looked at their careers, and many have decided to make changes. In many regions of the world, people have taken advantage of furlough programs. They've resigned, moved to different organizations, or even looked to whole new careers. Now, this may be alarming to many organizations, but I argue that it could potentially be a major opportunity. Let me take 60 seconds to outline for you a dynamic new workshop that I've created called Beyond the Great Resignation.
Okay, let's have a look at the workshop and how you can build an action plan for people engagement and mobility to drive talent retention by Tim Ringo. The agenda for day one, session one, is what is the Great Resignation and how do you address it? In this session, we'll define what the Great Resignation is, what the opportunities are, and what are the potential challenges. Session two, hiring, deploying, and retaining top talent during the Great Resignation. How do you approach that? How do you fix the issues? Session three, people engagement best practices. For example, how do you tap into people's intrinsic motivations, the reasons why they come to work for you, for example, and extrinsic motivation, the rewards? How do you create the balance between those two to drive retention? Day two, session four, the 5 P's of hiring, people engagement, and retention: purpose, policy, process, platform, and performance. We'll go through the operating model and the technologies that underpin it. Session 5, which is all about exactly that. What role does technology play? Technology these days is a lot cheaper, easier to use, easier to implement, and can underpin your change and allow you to create greater retention in your organization. Session 6, final session, bring it all together. How do you build the business case for change? How do you create the ROI? How do you measure it? These are the sorts of things that you'll need in order to go forward and drive successful change and create the buy-in for it.
So it's a jam-packed couple of days, but I intersperse it with case studies of real companies that I've worked with to solve some of these problems. Also, you're going to take away tools, templates, and techniques inside a digital participant guide that's going to allow you to take these things back to your organization and begin to work on change immediately. And here's just a few examples of some of the companies that we'll be using as case studies in the workshop. Accenture, IBM, Aramex, all companies that are thinking and doing differently. Here are just a few examples of the tools and templates that you'll use as part of the exercises during the workshop. Each exercise building on the other, so that at the end, you have a full case for change to take back to your organization and start work right away.
So to learn more about me, learn more about this workshop and other workshops, you can find me on my website, timringo.com/workshops. You can also find me on Twitter and my email, tim@timringo.com. Look forward to seeing you. Thanks very much for joining me today.